Not the third.
Yeah. Smooth shit. Yeah. Pull up, the block spinning. New ride in my girlfriend's master presidential inside.
Yeah.
Ray-Bans on my eyes. Weed and brews in charge. I don't know why they still be looking surprised. Add fuel to my fire, take it higher than they ever seen. My life a movie and I'm living out the best scenes. They call me cocky, in reality I'm confident. And every night we taking shots to our accomplishments.
Cheers.
A lot of food, put it on my plate. And baby pressing not to tell her to wait. She see the signs of the times and the world is so boring. I'd rather pull out them old schools and new foreigns. Tell me what you want, I'll tell you what you need. Them other niggas stuck, Bruce took the lead. I'm teaching on them streets that I used to run. And afterwards chillin' with my Aki on. What's up? Jake's claiming that they own. And they crew is legit. Yeah. I see the things that they doing when they do it, but they don't do it like this.
Not at all.
Niggas say that they the bomb, and they really be lit.
What?
I see the things that they doing when they do it, but they don't do it like this. Straight game, money over fame. Put it in accounts, double the amount on some Oprah shit. On occasion we be toasting, and what I'm sipping now the same color as the ocean is. Ride slow with the beat up, sister got her feet up. Head wrap with a skirt on when we meet up. It's really a play, my vibe reading South Central LA. And yeah, we got it cracking from the streets to the bay. All praises to Yahweh when I kneel and I pray, knowing it's all good. I teach truth and spread light in the hood, doing exactly what we want, they only do what they could. Common sense is genius dressed in his working clothes. It's like I work and work more, y'all just working clothes. A lot of bad attitudes and some broken souls. The city of fallen angels, guess that's how it goes.
Damn.
Jake's claiming that they own. And they crew is legit.
I bet.
I see the things that they doing when they do it, but they don't do it like this. Niggas say that they the bomb, and they really be lit. I see the things that they doing when they do it, but they don't do it like this.
True Nation.
All right. Shabbat Shalom. It's only Tuesday. I'm thinking forward. Shalom, Israel. Welcome back to another Tuesday class, Bible Basics with YASHAMI and Shamar. As you guys can see from the title, we're going into one of the 5 categories of our law. I want to take this moment just to thank everybody who has been tuning in and supporting. Please like, share, follow, subscribe, send this to your friends. We can be found on Facebook and YouTube at True Nation Israelite Congregation. If you have people that have been asking you about the truth, or you feel like there's people you know that need it, send them these videos. You know, our people need these basics. They have to get a good foundational understanding of the Bible so that, you know, we don't continue that cycle of our people being confused and not knowing this word. You know, so many people never get a true foundation in this Bible. So by the time they open up to the New Testament and they reading about Paul and Peter, they're completely confused. They have no idea what's going on. So that's why we do these classes, because we don't want our people to be confused. You know, and with that, we're going to go ahead and jump straight in. Let's open up to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 5. So when we're dealing with the Bible, the children of Israel, right, our constitution is the laws of this book. Our law was broken into 5 categories, right? So today we're touching on the civil law, but we also had moral laws, ceremonial laws, dietary laws, and we also had our sacrificial law, right? So understanding that they all have a different role to play in how we were supposed to govern ourselves as God's chosen people, right? Let me get the definition real quick of civil, just so we can show you, you know, the definition of this and see what we'll be talking about. So civil, it says of or relating to citizens, of or relating to the state or its citizenry, of relating to or based on civil law. So when we're dealing with these affairs, let me read this one right here. It says, of relating to or involving the general public, their activities, needs, or ways, or civic affairs as distinguished from special, such as military or religious affairs. So when we're dealing with this, what has everything to do with, you know, the cities that we live in, our communities, our villages, however you want to say it, how you're dealing with your brother, how you're dealing with your sister. When there would be civil issues that pop up like, hey, this person wronged me in this way, then they would go to the judges and they would judge them based off of the civil laws, right? If somebody stole something from you, you wouldn't look for a law in the sacrifice part of our law to try to, you know, make that situation right for them. You would have to go to the civil laws. So that's what we'll be touching on today. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, and let's start at verse 5.
Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me.
So this is Moses talking to the people, and he's letting us know that, look, everything that he was giving us was coming straight from the Most High. He said he taught us laws, he taught us statutes and judgments. It says, even as the Most High had taught him. So this wasn't something he just came up with, because you have a lot of our people that have such a disdain for the laws of the Old Testament, when truthfully, a lot of our people haven't even read it. But they just have this preconceived notion that the laws of the Old Testament are bad, and, you know, Moses. No, Moses was taught these laws so that he could teach us, and that's why we're teaching you guys now. But go ahead.
That ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them.
So make no mistake, these laws are something that we have to keep. We have to do these things. If you say you love God and you don't keep the law, the Bible says that you're a liar and the truth is not in you. So we have to keep these laws. But the crazy thing is, as we read through some of these civil laws, you'll see that this is something you would want to keep. It just makes sense. It would make our lives a whole lot more easier if we kept these laws and if we practiced these judgments amongst each other. But let's read on.
Keep therefore and do them.
So keep therefore and do them. Go ahead.
For this is your wisdom.
Now, for anybody who we look at today, you know, we say, okay, that's a wise person. If you look at the lifestyles they live, a lot of times they're foolish people, right? The Bible says that when we were to keep these laws, we would be looked at as wise. Read on.
For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
Right. So literally, all these other nations will be looking at us and tap your mic real quick. Yours is kind of low. So the other nations will look at us, you know, keeping these laws, and they would look at us as a wise people. Let's go ahead and read on.
Which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation.
Surely this what?
Surely this great nation.
So when we keep these laws, we would actually be considered and called a great nation. I don't think, you know, the so-called Black and Latino communities at large are looked at as great. Not in today's times, right? We have a lot of gang violence in our communities. We have a lot of, you know, drug dealing going on, a lot of prostitution. Our people aren't looked at as a great people, you know, when it comes down to that. But go ahead.
Surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
Go ahead.
For what nation is there so great, who hath God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for?
Read.
And what nation is there so great that hath statutes and judgments so righteous?
So when you actually look at the laws of God and then you look at the judgments of God, you would actually be like, you know what? Wow, that's righteous. I can't think of a better way, to compensate somebody for that type of offense. The way that God had it laid out is perfect. Go ahead.
And what nation is there so great that hath statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law, which I set before you this day?
Right, and that's a question that we should be asking each other, because a lot of times we look for the other nations. We, start to adopt their principles, and, we go to their governments. We look for their religions. But God is saying, what I gave you, where can you look at other on this earth and be like, there's something better? But then again, you would actually have to read. But that's why the book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 3 says, blessed is he that readeth. A lot of our people don't read this Bible, so they don't actually value it how it should be valued. But with that, let's go over to the book of Leviticus, chapter 18. Oh, yeah, I just want one part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can get verse 5.
Okay, kind of. Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 5. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them.
Right, so when we keep the commandments of God, we would actually have a long life. We were supposed to live in these commandments and in these judgments that God gave us. And you'll actually find, when reading the Bible, you'll see all the different ways that we die because we don't do the things that God said for us to do. Go ahead.
I am the Lord.
And the Most High is the one who set that out. So let's go over to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 29 and verse 11.
Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you.
So God is saying, look, I know the thoughts that I think toward you. A lot of times we be thinking God ain't thinking about us. God could care less about us. A lot of us have given up on God. But when you read the Bible, he tells you exactly how he feels about his people, his chosen people, so-called blacks, so-called Latinos, so-called Native Americans. God loves us, and he actually chose us to be his special people. And that's why he gave us these laws to govern ourselves by. He said, look, you can't just be walking around saying, you're God's chosen and acting any old way. He said, you actually got to, hold yourself to a great standard, a holy and righteous standard. And that's exactly what these laws do. So in terms of the life that we live now, right, you look at the communities of so-called blacks and Latinos, the ghettos, it's not much peace. But God is saying he knows the thoughts that he has towards us. The type of lifestyle that God wanted us to live, he's about to explain it right now. Go ahead.
For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace.
Thoughts of peace. And that's why in the previous scripture that we read, he said, look, if you was to keep these laws, you were going to live in them. When we keep these laws, for one, when you have law, that means you have order. And when you don't have order, that means you have chaos or evil. So God is saying you were supposed to be keeping these laws and you was going to have a great life because God had thoughts of peace towards us. Go ahead.
And not of evil.
But now because we actually don't keep the laws of the Bible, because we're not keeping the civil laws, now we have evil lives. A lot of evil happens in our communities. People get shot. People dying from, all these different ailments. There's sicknesses and diseases going in and out of our communities, right? But go ahead.
To give you an expected end.
Yeah, God had an expected end for us. We saw what the beginning was. The beginning was Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. He said, look, you my chosen people. I chose you above everybody else. What type of end do you think that was supposed to have? A glorious one. But that's not the life that we live now. So when we actually reverse our ways, repent, right, turn away from the lifestyles that we're living now, which is lawless, and come back to keeping these laws, you'll see God actually starting to turn around our captivity, as said in the book of Deuteronomy. But let's read Deuteronomy chapter 10. Because a lot of people, again, I know most of our people are coming out of the Christian church or maybe the Catholic church, and the laws of God isn't something that is preached or practiced, in those religions. So when, you hear law, a lot of times our people are automatically like, nah, can't mess with it. And it shouldn't be that way. You know, you can't just sit here and pick up this book and just jump to the end and be like, okay, that's everything I need to know, and completely disregard everything in the beginning. But go ahead and read that. 10 and 12.
Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12.
Uh-huh.
And now, Israel, what doth the Lord thy God require of thee?
So look, Israel, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, what is it that God actually requires of us? If we want to be a servant of God, what does he require? He's going to let us know right now. Go ahead.
And now, Israel, what doth the Lord thy God require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy God?
It says we have to fear the Lord our God. Our God is a gracious, loving, merciful God, but he's also a God full of wrath and indignation. We have to fear God. And when you fear God, when you fear that if you don't live according to the way he said live and that he's going to judge you, right, then that's what we have now is chaos in our communities. But when you fear the Most High, you're going to be like, nah, I don't want judgment to fall upon me or my loved ones. I'm actually keep the laws of God. That's why he said fear him. But go ahead.
To walk in all his ways.
You see, all his ways. It's not just some. Because some people, they treat the Bible like trail mix. Some people like peanuts, you like pretzels, you like M&Ms, but you don't like raisins. So you're going to take the raisins out. You can't do that with the Bible. You have to take it from cover to cover. This is everything God has offered us. You can't just, cherry pick and take things away just because it doesn't fit your lifestyle. But go ahead.
And to love him and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
And how do you do that?
To keep the commandments of the Lord.
To not keep the commandments.
To keep the commandments of the Lord.
But the commandments was done away with.
To keep the commandments of the Lord.
You see that? We have to keep God's commandments. That's actually how you serve God, right? But read on.
And his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good.
No, for our evil.
For thy good.
For our inconvenience.
For thy good.
You see that? We have to change the way we think about this Bible because we've been taught it completely wrong. These laws that God has given us is actually very good for us. And as we read through the chapters, you'll see what I'm talking about. It just makes sense, right?
And it's crazy, just to add something. Most of the time, that'd be our main concern, right? We're walking through life. We get invested in all these. Whatever it is that you do, your main thing is, how is this going to turn out for me? You get into a relationship, you want to make sure you're taken care of. You want to make sure you're not wronged. You're going to make sure you're not defrauded. You get into a business venture, I want to make sure that I can trust you. I want to make sure that I'm not going to get left high and dry. Whatever situation you're in, you want to make sure that you're going to be protected and that you're going to be taken care of. The Most High set up the law so that we are taken care of. Not supposed to be defrauding one another. Not supposed to be stealing from one another. Not supposed to, lay with a woman and up and leave her. Or a woman lay with a man and up and leave him. There has to be commitment. Literally, the Most High set it up to where no one's going to lose. Even if you were an orphan, even if you were a widow, you're in a down, a terrible position. You still had a way to be able to eat because you had something called gleaning, right? If you had a field, you're a homeowner, you have a field, you're not supposed to take the outskirts of your vineyards to leave them for the homeless, the widow, the orphan, people who can't eat any other way. If we kept the law, there would be no losers in Israel. There would be nobody who's left out, no one who's overlooked, no one who's starving, no one who's being misjudged and mistreated and just put in this downtrodden position. That's how it would be if we kept the law. But you see all the issues that we're facing now, the unfaithful man, the unfaithful woman, the adultery, the prostitution, the theft, the murder, all these things, but they're contrary to the commandments of the Most High.
I'm glad the brother brought some of that up because we're going to touch on that. And it's crazy because it takes that moment for you to pull yourself out the picture and just look at everything. And you be like, okay, wow, I see where all these improvements are needed. You have to be real. We all grew up in the hood. And at some point you had that day where you walked outside and you realized like, wow, it's really messed up. But some people, they stop right there. What the Most High has allowed us to do is like, you know what? Now we want to fix it. And he's allowed us to do that by taking heed to his commandments. And we're going to read this and show you exactly how our lives should be and what we're actually working to get back towards, right? So with that, I want to go to the book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 1, because I want to show you guys that from cover to cover, you can read about the commandments of God being kept. And again, it's for our good.
Baruch chapter 4, verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of God, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life.
You see that? We've read so many scriptures already that just talk about how good these commandments are for us. It says that this law, this commandment endures forever. And it's crazy because you have people that would try to downplay the laws of the Bible, but will uphold the laws of physics. Right. Like, how does that work? You telling me you don't believe in universal law? Because that's what the Bible teaches. It just so happens that we were supposed to be the vessels that taught this universal law to everybody that was in our dominion, right? So go ahead.
All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die.
And that's why you see the type of lives that we have now. We have brothers dying senselessly from gangbanging. We have so many of our people dying now because of the things that they've injected into their bodies that our government told us was safe. When the Bible says never trust your enemy. We have our people dying out of, jealous rages and things like that because of all the misconduct and all the fornication and adultery that's going on in our communities. We have children that are dying in all of these Planned Parenthoods because mothers are aborting them. When the Bible says that when we leave off from keeping of the commandments, we die, that's what it means. Now, if we come back to keeping them, it says we shall come back to life. But read on.
Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it.
Take hold of it. Don't be ashamed of the laws of the Bible. This is our culture. Take hold of your culture. Take hold of it. Take it back. It was stolen from us. Go ahead.
Walk in the presence of the light thereof.
You see that? We're walking in darkness. And it's crazy because they put this stuff in the music. How many rappers is calling themselves demons right now?
Right. All of them.
You even had Drake talking about he's light-skinned, but he's still a dark nigga. What does that even mean? We're walking in darkness. The Bible says we have to walk in the light of these laws and these commandments. Go ahead.
Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated.
Uh-huh.
Give not thine honor to another.
That's all I need.
Let's
go. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll read it for you. I'll read it for you. Verse 3. Give not thine honor to another, nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation.
So he's talking about keeping the law, holding it close. He said, don't give that to somebody else, because that's the thing, right? Like the brother was talking about earlier, we always want to be like the other nations. We wanted a king like the other nations. Yep. We want a physical, tangible God like the other nations. We always try to take on all these things. He's saying, but look, what do we say? You're not left out. You're set apart. Don't give that to another nation. Right. Don't give that to another nation. Don't let them into the covenant, into the temple, into the heathen keeping feasts with us. Yeah, they can be servants and things of that nature, but people be trying to graft in all these heathen, all these other nations into our covenant. You got to feel some type of way, because that's somebody trying to take your spot, trying to take your position, trying to take your identity, when this is our law and our connection with our God. That's literally, and the Most High said he's married unto us. That's like someone trying to come in between you and your spouse. That's literally what that is. And that's what these other nations have not only tried to do, but have already succeeded in doing. We're coming back to the law. We've come out of the world after years of not knowing who we were, after years of not knowing our name, after years of not knowing our God, not knowing our law, now refining it and trying to get reestablished. And he said, don't give that to them.
And that's something that should be cherished. We're just so used to spreading ourselves thin and opening our legs for all the other nations to continue to use and abuse us. At what point do we as Black and Latino men look at each other and say we have to do better for our people? It takes that moment where you have to be completely selfless. Got to be completely selfless. Like, man, you know what? Whether I live or die, I still have a nation. What type of life do I want for my people? Until we start thinking like that, we're going to continue these cycles, these toxic cycles that end up in death. But all praise be to the Most High, because we're not hopeless. And it's crazy because the Bible talks about how there's different people that teach this word differently. You got some people that teach out of contention. Some people teach out of strife. Some people teach out of, whatever. They want to be famous. The whole thing is we are happy because our people are finally being taught the thing that is going to fix us. And it's no disrespect to people who, know a little something and helped in certain ways, right? But Band-Aids is not going to fix a bullet wound. The Most High has given us the proper tools needed to fully, heal our people. You have a lot of rappers, they talk about the problems. Okay, there's drugs, there's violence, there's gangbanging, there's kids dying. We get it. At what point is someone going to say, hey, I have a solution. I have an answer on how to fix this? That is why we're here, y'all. So, don't take the lessons that we teach and the way that we talk to our people as, we're trying to put you down. Sometimes when hearing the truth, it hurts. That's just the reality. We've been taught lies, so hearing the truth is like shattering to a lot of people. Your whole foundation was shook and like, whoa, you telling me something I've never heard in my life. My grandmama told me this and she died. Like, I know she was right. I get it, bro. I get it. But I'm telling you, there's life. There's a better life for us by keeping these commandments. And our people fight so hard against it. But it's okay, Israel. We're going to be patient just like Yahushua was patient with us, right? So with that, let's go to the book of Leviticus. So again, going into the civil side of things, dealing with our communities, our people, right? Let's see what type of laws God set up for us, and let's see how they would have played out in our communities. So let's go to the book of Leviticus, and let's go to chapter 19. And it's crazy? Before I came into this truth, I had never read the Bible. I would read, certain passages and things like that, but I had gotten in trouble one day as a kid, and my dad made me read the Bible as a punishment. So I had read the first couple of chapters, and I was taken back when I found out what the rainbow was actually for, right? Whole time as a kid, I always saw rainbows, thought they were super beautiful, and then to read, just to read, like, oh, God actually put that there as a reminder that he wouldn't flood the earth again. I was like, damn, that's kind of cool, It gave me a sense of, belonging almost. Like, damn, okay, cool. I've been, saying I believe in this Bible. Now I actually know a little something. Y'all going to be tripping out when y'all read some of these laws that's in this Bible. But go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. Chapter 19, and let's start at verse 9.
Leviticus 19:9. And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not wholly reap the corners of thy field.
All right, so listen. For brothers who have land, because that's real big right now in our community. You got to buy some land, get you some land. That's not a new concept for our people, right? So those who had land, you had gardens, you had beautiful vineyards. God said when it went time for you to harvest, it says you couldn't fully wipe it out. You couldn't bring up everything. Go ahead.
Neither shalt thou gather the gleanings of thy harvest.
Read.
And thou shalt not glean thy vineyard. Neither shalt thou gather every grape of thy vineyard.
You see that? America teaches our people excess. It teaches our people to overindulge and overconsume. But the Bible actually taught our people balance, right? We wasn't overindulging in things. You don't read the Bible and see, a whole lot of fat of God's chosen people. That's something that we struggle with now because we've lost, our self-discipline. The Bible teaches discipline. So it says, look, if you got this big old field, when it goes time to clean it out, don't clean everything. Go ahead.
Thou shalt leave them for the poor.
For the who?
For the poor.
Our people nowadays don't even think about leaving nothing for nobody.
Right.
Our people not leaving nothing for their mama, let alone the poor. But this lets you know the type of mind state that our people had. Imagine you owned a big old house, and off top, I got all this land, I'm going to be able to help somebody. Right. Knowing, I'm able to help somebody in my community. Imagine the type of relationships that kindled within the community. And it wasn't like it was just some stanking bums walking by. Our people, it's like, hey, bro, I got a shower in the back, man. Go wash yourself up. I got some extra food. Take you some grapes. Take you some corn. Take you this. And matter of fact, my uncle owns a business. Do you need a job? That's how our communities used to be. And then you striking up conversation, right? You at your house. And you see the same brother coming by getting some of the same food. Like, hey, man, you good, bro? You fell on hard time or something? You actually have that conversation now with somebody because they come into your house to get something that you're offering. Compared to now where a lot of our people are antisocial. We don't even want to look in the other person's direction. We don't even want to make eye contact no more. You go to shake somebody's hand and they give you the elbows and shoulder, yeah, the Bible is a pro-black and pro-brown book. This is really nation building and teaching us how we should be as a community of people, right? Go ahead.
Thou shalt leave them for the poor and stranger.
So we should be leaving these things for the poor and for the strangers because guess what? We had other nations living amongst us at times too. So when they would come by, you treat them well, they treat you well. They're going to be working for you forever. They coming by, shaking your hand, smiling, compared to now where it's hurry up and buy.
Right.
Go ahead.
I am the Lord your God.
Uh-huh.
Ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely.
Now, let's take a moment. Let's deal with this. How much deceit goes on in our communities today?
Constantly.
The fact that God cared enough about his chosen people to sit here and say, thou shalt not defraud. Actually, excuse me, I read a little bit further. It says, ye shall not steal. So many people got their cars broken into and stolen just on the folly day of Christmas and New Year's. I'm going to take it a step further. You got artists who are called Mr. Steal Your Girl.
Right.
How many homes are being broken up due to infidelity? Unrighteous dealings. Flocking season. And then it's unfortunate because a lot of times when you're trying to steal, it's not like someone's just going to be like, okay, cool. Right. You usually got a weapon because you're going to have to use it if someone puts up a fight. The young brother, P&B Rock, killed in L.A. at Roscoe's because he got robbed for his jewelry. Robbed and murdered. Do you not see how God said if we was to go away from our commandments, how we would die? And how if we kept them, we would live? If no one's trying to rob nobody, you ain't even got to keep nothing on you like that. Right. Now, if you're in a time of war, that's different. We got to walk around with knives, pepper spray. Certain states, you can carry guns on you just because you don't know what the next person is thinking. That's not the type of life that God originally had set up for us. That's not the end that he had declared for us. He said he had thoughts of peace. So he said, read that again.
Ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely.
Now, consider this. All the trust issues that we have in our communities. Nobody is willing to trust anybody because of all of the bad experiences they have had in this short life. You got people who have lived a short 23 years and have made up their mind, I'm not trusting another nigga a day in my life, because of how I've been so deceitfully dealt with by my people.
That's real. Like, it's certain professions that profit off of that. Everybody knows, like, women, you don't want to let your lady go to the mechanic. Why? Because they about to tell you everything is wrong with your car. We came in for an oil change, but we noticed, then you like, that's why we, most of the time is Israel, that's why when you find somebody that's faithful, you stick with that person. Jake can stick with a barber for 50 years.
Real talk.
Because you got a good price, you ain't never tore my hairline up, I'm going to stick with you. You get a good mechanic, you don't stick with that man until he don't work on nothing no more. Because most of the time, people are trying to get over. And it's crazy because as a salesman, as a sales tactic, you're taught who to target. You're taught target elderly. Now, you got people that they don't know what's going on. You showing them stuff on technology that they don't understand. You just give them numbers, give them prices, and you trying to take advantage of them. They don't need it no way. Our people, it's always about dog eat dog. Who can you get over on? Who can you scam? Who can you take advantage of because you got to eat?
Exactly.
And let alone where this man is going or how much money they got. You taking advantage of elderly people on SSI, they limited income, but you told them that they needed this or it was over, so they did it. Mechanic, they ain't got extra money, but you told them that they needed it and they need the car back, so they did it. But our people are constantly dealing falsely with each other. You go in and get a cell phone. This is a true story. I went in, phone wasn't charging, had to go get a new phone. I'm like, damn, I did not want to spend this extra money. Sitting up here, I'm like, all right, how much is it going to cost me? Hey, you do this, I can get you this. I'm like, bro, I just need the phone. Right? Salesman tactic, right? I leave out of there. I'm like, he putting a privacy screen on the phone, a case on the phone. I'm like, isn't that cost extra? No, it's not going to cost you anything. I get home, I'm looking at the receipt, extra charges on it. I'm like, come on. Yeah, true story. I was mad. I'm like, man.
Dealt falsely with you.
Man. And make you feel some type of way. And even in the law, you be like, man, but at the same time, it's okay, I got to be patient. They in the world. They're walking without. Get the text, I'm like, all right, I'm at least talk about it in the survey. It wasn't even his name. I said, man, they got me all the way.
Real talk.
But just constant false dealings over and over. No matter what you're doing, you already know if there's an opportunity for someone to get you, they're going to try.
Real talk. And it's sad because actually read that last part.
Neither lie one to another.
Neither lie one to another. It says, don't steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie one to another. When you observe the state of our current slavery, right? It's a reason why we don't need chains and shackles on. It's a reason why, we can have these cars and stuff, right? There's been so much distrust, so much insecurity bred in our communities to where we're not in a state to do anything. That's why a lot of people are scared to stand up and start fighting police when unjust stuff happens, because our people don't even trust one another. Be like, damn, I know he gonna get my back if this cop start whooping my ass.
Right.
Our people don't even have that trust amongst one another, right? And I seen that too recently on the videos. A dude fighting, it was a black man fighting a white man. And it's a black dude recording, and he was like, nah, you gotta catch your head up. You was talking that mess, whoopty whoop whoop. Once the black dude start getting whooped on, then they wanna hop in. They're like, no. Look. That's never supposed to happen. According to our law, that is never supposed to happen. You are always supposed to defend your own nation first. But we don't even have that trust within one another. Brothers is laughing at him and stuff. There's so much distrust and so much insecurity that our people walk around with every single day. We don't need to be walking around in chains, because guess what? If white men want to come in and do something, we're not going to fight back. We're not going to stand up for ourselves. We're not going to defend ourselves. So it's a reason why God is telling us, look, don't act like this amongst your people. You got to have that trust. You should be able to look left and right and see your own people, even if you don't physically know them, and be like, you know what? I know they got my back. Especially if you're moving in an upright fashion. If you're not being evil and wicked, we should have that type of trust in our community, but we don't, right? So read on.
Verse 12, and ye shall not swear by my name falsely.
How many people you know are like, nigga, on God? And they be lying. They be lying and putting it on God. Go ahead.
Neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord.
Uh-huh.
Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor.
Thou shalt. How many times does God have to tell us this? Go ahead.
Neither rob him.
Uh-huh.
The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night until the morning.
So let's break down just these few that we read. He said, look, thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor. That's on all levels. But specifically when dealing with business, it says that the wages, if you have somebody and you've hired them and they're working for you, it says you're supposed to pay them that same day. Now, if you've worked out something with your brother and it's cool, y'all understand that, then that's different. But naturally, you're supposed to give your brother what they are owed right then and there, not weeks later, years later. And you got some brothers, they wait for the year of release, the year of Jubilee, and be like, man, I forgot I owed you $20,000. But it's the 7th year. You got to forgive me. That's why God said, don't deal falsely with your people.
And it's crazy because that's a hell of a point, because there are laws. Because, again, there's not supposed to be any real losers in Israel. So if you got in a place where, hey, man, I need to borrow $20,000. My brother got it. He got it to be able to give to me. Don't owe somebody for 7 years, because you know that's fraud. You can pay out of 7 years, $20,000. Pay $3,000 a year. Right. What is that? You know, you can do the math. It's only like $50 a month, but basically, or $500 a month. But basically, it's not an insane amount of money. So you would be able to pay that back over a course of 7 years, or in 7 years, at bare minimum, have a conversation. Things are going how I thought it was. What can I do in the meantime to start chipping at this number?
To establish a good name in the community.
Bare
Imagine your brother like, no, he's a solid brother compared to
Right.
now. Don't F with him. Hell no.
Right.
He horrible. He didn't do that.
But that's fraud.
Exactly.
If you sit up here and got it in your means, you owe however many people, you get some money, the first thing you should be thinking of, how many debts do I have? If I got this amount, how many of these debts can I resolve? I'm not about to sit up here. Our people, we get some money or we get something, we going to buy Jordans, we're going to buy a PlayStation 5, the Xbox One, you going to put yourself on, but you got debts. You got to go pay back the people otherwise that's fraud. That's why he said it's not just about not stealing, but even if it's an agreement, don't defraud your neighbor.
Because again, it just breeds so much distrust, you know. It's nothing worse. Like when you really examine, like sometimes I just have to take that step back and I'll be like, this can't be our reality. We sitting there calling ourselves the children of God, and how is it you beefing with your own people? Like, we should be able to walk into the room and everybody just feels good. Ain't nothing like walking into the room and you know you got issues with somebody. It's the elephant in the room. Nobody want to talk about it. But that's what happens when you deal falsely with your people, right? But let's read on. No, you good. Go ahead.
Verse
14.
Thou shalt not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but shalt fear the Lord. I am the Lord. And
that goes into the literal aspect of that, but basically you shouldn't be doing things to make your brother or your sister fall. No, go ahead.
Speaking of the one right before this, first and foremost, again, like at a certain point, this is really just don't be cruel. Because, you know, and it's crazy because our people, that's become like common. Somebody blind, you want to trip the blind guy. Like, damn, how heartless. You know what I'm saying? This man literally can't see. You see somebody crossing the street, he has a walking stick. Help this man out. Get out the car, put it in park, grab the keys, go walk him across the street, make sure he's not going to get hit by a car or killed. People will record. People going to make a mockery out of it, poke fun at it. And it's crazy because that's another way of, like, taking care of your people. And when it talks about not frauding, it says, Sirach chapter 29, in verse 7, it says, many therefore have refused to lend for other men's ill dealing, fearing to be defrauded.
I can count on my hand right now how many people that will not lend nobody money because of what somebody else did to them back in the day.
And it's the damage. And that's another reason why we have to keep the law. You're doing damage. Like, when you deal with somebody like that, you put that, now that's in their mind. It doesn't matter what they go through from the rest of their life. That's always going to be in their mind. It could be $5. But the fact, it's the principle of the matter of somebody stole from me. Someone I trust, someone I love, someone I gave, and they didn't do right by me. So now you come in, I got to borrow 100. Ooh. if I got done wrong with that 5, I don't want to lose this 100. Right. 1,000, 10,000. Ooh, I can't. Because I've already had this negative experience, and this person wasn't trying to do right at all. So it just gets worse and worse.
That's a good precept, though. But it just gives more color, you know, to the Bible, and it paints the picture. It's like, okay, man, I can see how that law comes in handy, you know. There is a lot of distrust. There is a whole lot of, you know, hatred in the hearts of our people just off of bad dealings and being defrauded. We can fix that easily. One generation can fix that. One generation can fix that. Let's continue on.
Verse 15, ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty.
Now, here's the thing, right? A lot of times when you're in the public, you see the affairs of the public. It'd be a lot of nonsense that go down in our community sometimes. You'd be seeing brothers getting ready to fight. You'd be seeing things being aired out. And our people naturally had a sense of judgment, right? If there was things going on where, what's an example? Basically, like, they got flash mobs and stuff now, right? It's like people just go and do smash and grabs and stuff like that. Let's just say it was 2 people doing it. We had enough sense back then to be like, you know what? You just stole from your brother. I'm not about to sit here and just let him run off. You're going to sit there and tackle that dude, probably whoop his butt, and then bring the goods back, and then there's a judgment for that brother having to repay the stuff that he stole. But nowadays, they be seeing all type of trifling stuff going on in our communities against our people, and you pull the phone out and you. The Bible said you're not unrighteous if you do judgment. Speak up. If you see some bad stuff going on, little kids cussing out their mamas in the supermarket, I ain't going to say, you know, pop them in the head, but, hey, speak on that. Hey, young man, you need to shut the hell up talking to your mama like that. What's wrong with you? You know, single mothers, they got it bad out here. They ain't got no control over their kids. Daddy locked up or in jail. It's all bad, but we can fix this, right? But go ahead.
You shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty. But in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor.
You see that? We shouldn't be judging each other based off of petty things like, you know what, I remember such and such did that to me back in 7th grade, so now I got.
Right. Good Lord.
No, you judge righteous judgment. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer.
Look at that.
Among thy people.
Why is that so popular in our communities today? We love watching the No Jumper podcast. We love watching the DJ Academic podcast and all these messy-ass podcasts where all they do is sit there and talebear.
And real quick, definition of talebearer, one that spreads gossip or rumors.
That's in high demand today.
Right.
You damn near can't even be successful in any type of business unless you got some type of drama attached to it. Some type of gossip, some type of drama attached to you. You damn near irrelevant. That's how people get famous nowadays. Right. They get famous doing trifling stuff, then they try to change they route and go into music or film or something like that. It's sad. But God said we shouldn't be doing that. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor.
Exactly, because it's a whole lot of, it's different here in L.A. Everybody probably don't have the same thing, right? But there's people who have homies, homegirls, family members who are known murderers, and they keep it on the hush.
Right.
and keep it on the hush.
Especially the pedophile, the child molester.
All of that.
That'd be huge.
Yeah,
Be
all
a,
of that.
A known member of the family that is about that, and everybody cool with it.
As soon as you try to bring it up,
Right. Nah. Like, you know what I'm saying? And the reality is, the crazy part about it is we're supposed to police each other. We
Exactly.
naturally have that, but we do it for the wrong things.
Exactly.
Women being involved in other sisters' relationships, other people's households. Everything's messy. Everything's interesting. And then everybody's speaking death. What you need, girl, I wouldn't have, what you need to do. God, what do you gain from that? You know what I'm saying? What are you going to gain from this? Being so involved in someone else's house, someone else's relationship, someone else's marriage, and your interest is tearing it down. Someone else's business, someone else's money, and your interest is tearing it down. There's no reason for you to be involved. It's crazy.
People want to sit here and talk about, well, those are Bible days. Those were different. These is Bible days that we live in now, because it talked about how evil we'll be treating one another in these last days. Our neighborhoods is trifling. But read on.
Brother. Mike test. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart.
Thou shalt not hate thy brother or thy sister in our heart. The Bible actually talks about fixing issues between brothers and sisters. It says if you have a problem with somebody, you're supposed to go to them and deal with it, hash it out. But that's not what society teaches us today. We're taught if you don't like somebody, you know, throw sneak disses at them and get that hatred into your heart. And then y'all get past the point of talking to where next time y'all see each other, y'all just want to fight and shoot.
Over something that ain't even a real issue.
Exactly.
It'd be the stuff that follows the actual offense that be the real thing that you write off of.
Yep.
Somebody step on your shoe. Simple, my bad.
Yep.
Worst case scenario, clean it off, humble yourself for a moment. But then if somebody do something that small, you can move your foot. Like, oh, see, now I got a real problem. Now it's a real problem with you. You could have just said sorry, we would have been about our lives. But the disrespect, then it's mink mink. Now we got a problem for real.
Yep. Go ahead.
Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
This is civil law that we're speaking about, y'all. In any wise, we should be holding our people accountable. Accountability is like kryptonite in the Black and Latino communities in 2023. Trying to hold somebody accountable, you damn near the devil. But the Bible says that's how you really show love. You got to hold people accountable. Let's go over to the book of Exodus chapter 22. In just those few scriptures, I'm sure you guys are watching like, dang, I wish we had that in our communities.
Man, real talk.
It's humbling even having to do these type of lessons. I remember I called the bishop the other day, and I was like, man, I can't believe our forefathers, and probably including us, I can't believe we sold out on the kingdom for Christmas. we gave up all the good stuff this Bible talks about to do foolishness because we wanted to eat pork. Man. We gave up a lifestyle of peace and comfort so that we could eat pork, shrimp, crab, lobster. I can't believe our people at times. It's humbling, right? Yeah. Let's read on Exodus chapter 22. And, we can start verse 1.
Verse 1, if a man shall steal an ox or a sheep and kill it or sell it.
And this is how you know we the people of the Bible. People have been taking people's animals since the beginning of time. And Israel good for that, right? So if a man shall steal an ox or a sheep and kill it or sell it, go ahead.
He shall restore 5 oxen for an ox and 4 sheep for a sheep.
You see how righteous the Most High is? He said, for example, an ox and a sheep, those are 2 completely different animals, completely different sizes, right? It would be unjust if a brother, man, you killed and ate his sheep, and now you're like, man, now you got to pay me back in 15 horses. He said, nah. I'll give you a couple back, my bad. You feel me? An ox, that's a bigger animal. That wasn't no small deal. It's a way more expensive animal, right? You're going to have to come out of pocket now restoring that for your brother. And then even knowing the judgment that comes attached with that would keep somebody from doing that type of. If I steal this one, I already don't got one. How am I going to give them back 5? Right. Go ahead.
Verse 2, if a thief be found breaking up.
Now here's the thing. If a thief is found in your house breaking up, right, go ahead.
And be smitten that he die.
And you come downstairs and you defend your home because you don't know what type of threat they're bringing in. You kill this person. What?
There shall no blood be shed for him.
The Bible says an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. But in this instance, you're justified because you were protecting your home. This is a civil law, right? Flocking season, and we see it happening all the time. Just go to YouTube and see how many people break into people's homes, and you see the owners just firing down the hallway, and you see people scattering out the front door, right? Now, in America, they'll probably put you in jail if you shoot and kill somebody entering your home like that, especially if you shoot them in the back type situation. Right. But according to the Bible, it says, nah, you'll be good. But read on.
If the sun be risen upon him, there shall be blood shed for him.
Now, here's the thing. If it was a situation where maybe this is something that happened midday, you can identify who the person is. Somebody is seeing it, you got witnesses, and you can get clear judgment, but you said, nah, I want that person dead. God said at that point, you're going above the law, and that's wrong because he can make that right. You clearly saw he wasn't a threat to your life.
Right.
He might have ran in there and stole your iPhone. He wasn't trying to kill you or nothing. But you say, you know what, you chase him down, three miles or something just to shoot him down dead, you're wrong for that.
And how just is that even the thief is protected, not in the crime that he's committing, but in the fact that you don't have to take his life.
Exactly.
You don't know what their situation is, and that's still a certain level of compassion to exercise. This man might be stealing for his family. Look, I know who he is. We're going to have, you know what I'm saying, we're going to find him, get the stuff back later, and there's going to be a judgment given.
But now let's read on. So, verse 4. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Finish that, verse 3.
If the sun be risen upon him, there shall be blood shed for him, for he should make full restitution.
You see that? God is all about making sure our people are restored. And a lot of times, even dealing with the law, as long as you restore the offended or hurt party, then all the other penalties should be done away with. That's how the law is supposed to work here, right? But go ahead.
If he have nothing, then he shall be sold for his theft.
Look at that. You didn't caught the brother, and he don't even have nothing to give you, right? And we see that like with examples like with car accidents, right? You're insured, but the other person isn't. They can't even give no money towards fixing your car or nothing like that, and it become a whole situation. It said in this point he's going to be sold until basically he's going to be sold to work for whatever he needs to pay back, and at that time, then he'll be released. He's going to have to find somebody in the nation who has a business that he can work for to pay you back. And it wasn't like, well, shoot, I'm going to see, man. I don't know. It's been a couple months. I've been looking. Right. Now, the judges is going to – who got businesses in Israel?
Right.
We got one. Go ahead.
If the theft be certainly found in his hand alive, whether it be ox or ass or sheep, he shall restore it double.
Now, look at that. The first instance said if he was to steal an ox or a sheep and kill it. This one, if you stole somebody's dog, you stole they $10,000 poodle, and they found it as alive, now you got to pay back double. And look how, bro, is that not restitution? Not only did you get stolen from, but then you got it back in double. Oh, praise be to the Most High. Some people came up on a lick, didn't they?
Right.
They just so happened to steal my $50,000 ring. I need $100,000 back. All praise be to the Most High.
All praises.
Go ahead.
Verse 5, if a man shall cause a field or vineyard to be eaten.
Now check this out. If a man shall cause a field or a vineyard to be eaten, because we had all different types of, jobs and things back then, right? Some people, they had a bunch of locusts for whatever reason, or you had certain animals that would go out and graze, right? And if they accidentally got loose and they went and ate up somebody's field, God actually has restitution for that. Go ahead. Verse 5.
If a man shall cause a field or vineyard to be eaten, and shall put in his beasts, and shall feed in another man's field, of the best of his own field, and of the best of his own vineyard, shall he make restitution.
Look at that. You had some little measly crops. All you had was some wheat and probably a little bit of some cabbage growing in your yard. But somebody's animals got let loose, and they cleared your whole yard out. Now, whatever the best of that person's field is, he has to give to you. My goodness. Go ahead.
If a fire break out and catch in thorns, so that the stacks of corn or the standing corn or the field be consumed therewith. Because
we know that accidental fires happen. Especially out here in California, it's super dry. People be driving down the freeway smoking a cigarette. They flick it out the window. Your crops can go up in flames. Right? Go ahead.
Or the field be consumed therewith. He that kindled the fire shall surely make restitution.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. At that point, how could you really be mad at your brother? It's like, damn, we only be mad because we know that we don't have the means to make it right.
Yeah, real talk.
It's like, bro, you didn't crash my $100,000 Mercedes. Yeah. But it's like, nah, if I'm going to make full restitution, my bad, I'll have you another one here next week. Right. You can be like, all right, well, shoot, cool.
Right.
You can't even really be that mad. Go ahead.
If a man shall deliver unto his neighbor money or stuff to keep, and it be stolen out of the man's house, if the thief be found, let him pay double.
All praises, read.
If the thief be not found, then the master of the house shall be brought unto the judges to see whether he have put his hand unto his neighbor's goods.
Because isn't that something that we've experienced or we experience in our communities? Like, hey, man, you mind if I borrow your camera for a video shoot I want to do? Okay, cool, here. I just need it back by this date. All right, cool, no problem. A week later, hey, man, dude, somebody broke into my house. You wouldn't believe what they stole. They stole your camera. A lot of times, niggas be like, bro, I know you didn't pocket it, Mike. How all of a sudden your house getting broken into when you got my stuff, right? So it said if they can't find a thief, then at that point the judges get involved to see whether or not there's what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, if there's any foul play. If there's any foul play to see if, like, you know, devise the whole scheme just to come up on your brother's goods.
Right.
But go ahead.
For all manner of trespass, whether it be for ox, for ass, for sheep, for raiment, or for any manner of lost thing which another challengeth to be his, the cause of both parties shall come before the judges, and whom the judges shall condemn, he shall pay double unto his neighbor.
And then looking just, you know, in hindsight, right, how we've come so far from wanting this in our communities to now the common verbiage is, you can't judge me.
Right.
Only God can. We want judges in our community. We want that. And you know that you was going to these men and that they were righteous men and that they had wisdom given to them from God. They was going to make sure you came out right if you was done wrong. Read on.
Verse 10, if a man deliver unto his neighbor an ass or an ox or a sheep or any beast to keep, and it die or be hurt.
Hey, man, you mind if, or, hey, I'm going out of town. You know, you mind watching my dog?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool, no problem. Bring your dog over. Call you back. Hey, man, I don't know what happened. Your dog died. Go ahead.
Or any beast to keep, and it die or be hurt or driven away, no man seeing it.
I don't know what happened. I went to the grocery store and I came back and he was laid out. Go ahead.
Then shall an oath of the Lord be between them both, that he hath not put his hand unto his neighbor's goods, and the owner of it shall accept thereof, and he shall not make it good.
Now, here's the thing. A lot of people will say, well, that don't seem right. That's not the case, and I'll tell you why. Back in these times, God was really dealing with our people. When you made an oath between the Most High, that's like, let's say me and this brother had a situation going on, and I'm like, bro, I swear to God I had nothing to do with it. At that point in time, if that brother was lying, we would know shortly later because the Most High would strike judgment on that person. They'd be dead, or they're getting real messed up. And then he would have to restore it anyways after that, right? But go ahead.
And if it be stolen from him, he shall make restitution unto the owner thereof. If it be torn in pieces, then let him bring it for witness, and he shall not make good that which was torn.
Right, so let's just say, like, bro, I came in the backyard and a little scruffy was torn to pieces. I don't know, it looked like a bobcat got to him or something. It's like, bro, you clearly know I didn't do this. You can see the paw mark in his head. Like, it wasn't me. Go ahead.
And if a man borrow aught of his neighbor, and it be hurt or die, the owner thereof being not with it, he shall surely make it good. But if the owner thereof be with it, he shall not make it good. If it be an hire thing, it came for his hire.
Now imagine this, right? Let's say you just walking your horse or something like that. And brother's like, hey, man, you mind if I get on your horse? Oh, okay, cool. Y'all sitting there walking, just having a conversation. Horse break his leg. You can't be like, man, you did that.
Right.
Nah, bro. I don't know what your horse was doing, man. That wasn't on me. Right? These laws are so righteous. These laws are righteous. The Most High, he never leaves our people, you know, in bad standing when it comes down to his judgments. But we have to practice this. We have to want this. We have to stop wanting the toxic communities that we have now and you know, go back to this. The Bible talks about going back to the old way in which things were good. I was talking to my wife earlier. This life that we live now is complicated. It's stressful, right? They sell it to us at convenience, but at what cost? Back then, life was simple, peaceful. That's all we want, right? But go ahead.
And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife.
You see that? And it wasn't no hitting it and quitting it. Baby mamas and single mothers was not a norm for our people. You don't read that commonly throughout the Bible. You read about husbands and wives and family units. It said, man, you know what? This good-looking brother, he got a mouthpiece on him. He over here just gaming these females up, knocking them down. Now, it's all these single women, some pregnant, right? That's the norm of today, but back then it was like, nah, these are all my wives, and I provide for them. I take care of them. And the community was going to hold you to that. Fathers was going to make sure that you was protecting and taking care of their daughters, which you humbled and you married. Read.
If her father utterly refused to give her unto him,
You could drop down to verse. Actually, that's all I need from there. Oh, yeah, you can get that.
Verse 22, ye shall not afflict any widow or fatherless child. If thou afflict them in any wise, and they cry at all unto me, I will surely hear their cry. And my wrath shall wax hot, and I will kill you with the sword, and your wives shall be widows, and your children fatherless.
I'm telling you. And this is such a norm for our community now. To see our people just misusing and abusing these types of people in our communities. God said at that point in time, he would visit them. He would kill them. That's why I said that other situation where you had to make an oath between you and God, that was a real thing. Imagine you sitting here clowning this little boy because he's fatherless. Oh, your dad, that's why he died. Most High said,
cold.
That's cold. That's cold-hearted.
It's hella cold.
It's heartless. God said he going to turn that around on you. Let's jump over to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 22 and start at verse 1. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. I haven't read one law yet that I don't want to be practiced today. America just got done passing new laws for 2023 in California for abortion and all other type of foolishness. Like, these are the laws that we should be looking forward to. Read.
Deuteronomy 22:1, thou shalt not see thy brother's ox or his sheep go astray, and hide thyself.
Imagine that. Where if you left your house and you got neighbors and they clearly saw that you left your gate open, a little scruffy run down the street, they ain't gonna say, well, that's his bad.
Right.
I hope he get hit by a truck. No, you would actually go and retrieve that for your brother. Imagine what type of peace was in these type of communities.
Right.
You were good.
The fact that this is a law.
This is a law. God will judge you according to this. If you saw something in your brothers go down the street and you was like, well, I don't feel like getting it, God was gonna judge you for that. And then not only that, again, if that's your next door neighbor, he gonna come home and be pissed off at you.
Right.
The relationship may not be the same depending on what you let leave. Like, damn, bro, you don't even love me enough to get if that was you, I'd have did that for you.
Right.
What does that conversation look like? But go ahead.
Thou shalt in any case bring them again unto thy brother. And if thy brother be not nigh unto thee, or if thou know him not.
This is for somebody you don't even know. The first instance is somebody you know, probably a close neighbor or a relative or something like that. This one right here, he don't even know him. But what?
Then thou shalt bring it unto thine own house.
You don't even know where to take this lost dog. But I'm going to bring it to my crib. I'm going to take care of it until when?
And it shall be with thee until thy brother seek after it.
Until you get tired of it?
Until thy brother seek after it.
You got to see them posters going up, missing dog, and then you can get rid of it. Man, the Bible is so cold. This is the type of life I want to live. I want to be in communities where the people think like this and have that type of love for one another. Read.
And thou shalt restore it to him again. In like manner shalt thou do with his ass, and so shalt thou do with his raiment, and with all lost thing of thy brothers, which he had lost. And thou hast found.
Go ahead. My bad, y'all. Go ahead. I know, man. Go ahead. Verse 4. Wait, is that where we at?
Which he had lost, and thou hast found.
Come on, man. Excuse us, y'all.
So like it. Oh, man. Which he had lost, and thou hast found, shall thou do likewise.
Go ahead, man. Where we at? Deuteronomy 22?
Verse 3, thou mayest not hide thyself.
Go ahead. Go ahead, bro. Verse 4.
That's some.
I know they sick of us. I'm so sorry, Israel. Oh my goodness. Go ahead. Verse 4. We're gonna get through this. We almost done. And that's the thing too with this lesson. You don't need to be no super long, drawn out lesson. But again, it's just really going into the importance of getting back to the simplicity that God intended for us, And the thing is too, it's like, in all seriousness, like you read of these laws and you just see how so much comfort and stability would be in our communities if we practice this,
And it's crazy because, like we said, verse 1 is a law. You can't be like, man, I just had a long day, seen the ox. And it's crazy because even if there was a sheep that was coming down the street, it ain't just sheep wandering around. This is a valuable animal. If it don't belong to somebody, somebody's going to claim it. You see it coming down the street, man, there goes somebody's sheep. All right, I'm going to take it in. Give it some water, give it some food, make sure that it's taken care of. Then somebody come, hey, man, I lost my sheep. It's the only sheep that I have. This is how I'm supporting my family. We having goat's milk. I'm sharing it to make clothes. Wintertime is coming. I need the wool off the sheep that's there right now. Hey, you know what, brother? Man, I'm glad you came to claim it. I seen it coming down the street. This the sheep. Oh, yeah, man, I know that's him. He got a spot on his right side. Yeah, that's all right. He in the backyard. Oh, man, thank you. Because you never know what everybody in different situations. Might be his only sheep, might be all he has. You saved him from losing his livelihood, essentially. That's hella important. And the fact that the Most High this is not a suggestion. You know what I'm saying? This is not one of the laws of wisdom and, kind of not a take it or leave it or a suggestion. He said, look, this is what I expect. So when the Most High hears the intents of your heart, you see a sheep, you're like, oh, I just got home, just hit the bed. It's a sheep outside. I hear him. He ain't, you know what I'm saying? He ain't running from you. He going to let you bring him in. Bring him in, take care of him. Take that extra 20 or 30 minutes because you never know what that's going to mean for your brother. And then you build the relationship. So when you have a neighbors and a community of people built like this, and then your country is built like this, when it's time to go to war, we show up with shields and staffs. I might not have ever met this brother in my life. But I know, hey, man, you know what? You might see people that's the man, he had my sheep.
You brought my sheep back.
Right.
We about to go to war together.
We about to go to war together. I know this is a good man. Yep. And you able to ride off that confidence with everyone in the nation that they're living that righteously.
All praise be to the Most High. Let's finish that off.
Thou shalt not see thy brother's ass or his ox falling down by the way and hide thyself from them.
Go ahead. Verse 5.
The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man.
So, this is part of our civil. It's part of the civil law still. We actually had dress codes. There was no confusion. You wouldn't go to the marketplace and see women, cross-dressing and men cross-dressing.
How big is that?
It's huge.
It's crazy. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, but say it's huge and it's sad. Like nowadays, kids probably genuinely are confused when they go out in public. Like, what the heck is that?
It'd be popular. It's what do you call it? Cross-dressing day at school. Yeah. Even in high school for what they call it, Spirit Week. That was one of the days. Cross-dressing. Yep. You had dudes showing up. They perming their hair. They showing up in dresses, fake boobs. Yep. I'm like, bro, y'all. It was too much.
Yep.
And it's common. Everybody laughing, taking pictures. Like this is an abomination to the Most High God.
Yep. So read verse 5 again.
The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man. Neither shall a man put on a woman's garment.
You see that? The Most High isn't biased. It goes both ways. The women and the man, y'all both got laws that y'all supposed to, live by and govern yourselves by. Read.
For all that do so are abomination.
Drop down and read verse.
Unto the Lord thy God, Salakia.
Let's drop down and read verse 8. Watch this. I bet you guys didn't know this.
Verse 8, when thou buildest a new house, then thou shalt make a battlement for thy roof. That thou bring not blood upon thine house, if any man fall from thence.
Exactly. So when we was to actually build our houses, we made sure that our roofs was flat and they actually had guardrails so that no one could just by chance fall off of that. And the Most High said that you bring blood upon your house that way. And
that's a law that America has. Somebody slip and fall at your house, they can legally sue you.
Yeah.
Somebody fell off a wife comes seeking for her husband, he fell off the roof. Their whole family is broken up. Exactly. You're responsible for that. What happened? Oh man, I was trying to cut the cost. You got some blood on your hands.
Yeah, real talk. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with diverse seeds, lest the fruit of thy seed which thou hast sown and the fruit of thy vineyard be defiled.
And look at that. Even down to our gardens, the Most High was so meticulous with his details and how he wanted us to be living. He said, dude, in your gardens, don't even be mixing stuff. You can't have strawberry, grape, strawberry, watermelon. No, have a whole row of watermelons. Be in order. Do everything decently and in order. Have a whole row of cantaloupe. If you want trees, have a whole row of apple trees. Make sure everything is done in order. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not plow with an ox and an ass together.
Look at that. He said, even if it's time for you to plow the land, you're getting ready to plant some stuff. If you got a small backyard, you shouldn't have the ox and the ass working together. Right. Most of us wouldn't even care to think about to add that to a law. This is a law. Most High say, you better imagine that. You sitting there, hey, why you got both your animals doing, let the ox do his thing. Man, even the animals was able to rest. The Most High, come on now.
Thou shalt not wear a garment of diverse sorts, as of woolen and linen together.
And we did an excellent lesson on this years ago, and I think it's time that we do another one just to give Israel some clarity on what's being said. Most High said you shouldn't have, your clothes being made out of, like, for example, 50% is like wool, and let's say, yeah, but like where it's threaded together, literally. Like, let's say you got 2-strand shirts. One strand is wool, and one strand is, whatever, camel's hair, whatever you wanted to use, something that's diverse or the opposite of it. You can't have that woven together as something. But if you had a 100% cotton shirt, and let's say you start putting patches on your shirt, right? You glue or you stitch a patch to it, and let's say it's some leather or something. You can do that. You can do that.
And in short, you can't have anything that's from an animal and anything that is from a plant or even earth-based, because some materials,
like silk.
Yeah, but like polyester, I think it is made from like heating carbon or something like that. So it's earth-based and would fall under more so of a plant because it's from something that's earth-based. You can't mix those things together. So like brothers had ponchos not too long ago, sitting there at the feast like, man, that's a nice poncho. What's that made of? Oh, great question. Took off the tag and was like, man, this is alpaca and cotton. You got to get rid of that, bro. You can't wear it.
Exactly.
You got to get rid of it right then and there.
So I'm hoping that Israel, we actually understand that too moving forward. If you have a 40% cotton and 60% polyester shirt, that's okay. It's the same material. It comes from the earth. But again, like the example, you can't have two separate things going in to make the actual garment. But go ahead.
Verse 12, thou shalt make thee fringes upon the 4 quarters of thy vesture, wherewith thou coverest thyself.
So, of course, we wear our fringes, right? Read.
If any man take a wife and go in unto her and hate her and give occasions of speech against her.
So, look, again, this is a civil matter. Now you out here talking this, you spreading this abroad. Read.
And bring up an evil name upon her and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid.
So even dealing with relationships, that's the biggest thing dealing with our civil laws. Marriages are the foundation to a nation, right? Read.
Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate. And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hateth her. And lo, he hath given occasions of speech against her, saying, I found not thy daughter a maid, and yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity.
Meaning he tried to bring up an evil report and lie. He was talebearing, saying, man, this guy promised me a virgin. It turns out this chick's not even a virgin. But the whole time he made that lie up because there was something that he didn't like about her. Maybe she didn't cook breakfast the best or dinner the best, and he said, I just want to get rid of her. So you bring up an evil name on your people. And this happens a lot, too often in our communities, right? Let's see how this situation played out, though. Read.
And they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city.
So they have the proof that dude was lying.
And the elders of the city shall take that man and chastise him. And they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver and give them unto the father of the damsel, because he hath brought up an evil name upon a virgin of Israel, and she shall be his wife.
You see that? God even cares about the women. Because it's put out there, oh, Hebrew men don't care about their women. Y'all just treat them like doormats. And God is looking out for the sisters. He created y'all. He loves y'all.
You can't even talk bad about her.
That's what I'm saying. It has to be something worthy of that for a man to do that. He can't just because you made him mad, now he's out there spreading a false name in Israel. There was consequences and repercussions. So yes, sisters, God loves you, and men of the Lord love you as well.
Con.
We just have to get back to these laws. Go ahead.
He may not put her away all his days.
You see that? And how many women are suffering from that right now? Struggling with kids because they got a baby daddy who, for whatever reason, just don't want to do the right thing and take care of her. And now he over there telling, yeah, man, that girl, she wasn't nothing. She wasn't ish. Whole time she was holding that man down, but that's just a wicked brother.
Right.
So
What is that? That 1 Timothy 5:8. He's worse than an unbeliever.
Con. You know, and again, I haven't read one law yet to where I'm like, yeah, we don't need this in our communities. Sisters would heavily benefit from this because, unfortunately, yeah, there's a lot of messed up men in this world, just as there is a lot of messed up women. But again, we're at that point now to where we're tired of talking about what's messed up and who did what. We're looking for answers now. We want results. We want to fix this. We want to be restored like the Bible is talking about. But go ahead.
But if this thing be true and the tokens of her virginity be not found for the damsel.
So let's rewind. Actually, it turned out in this situation that, you know what? The brother wasn't lying. Then what?
Then they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of the city, and the men of her city shall stone her with stones that she die, because she hath wrought folly in Israel to play the whore in her father's house. So shalt thou put evil away from among you.
You see that? Now, how cool is our women being whores today?
Popular. Hot girl summer.
Men get hurt when women are not loyal to them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I watched a brother break it down beautifully one day. He just talked about all the psychological trauma that it causes a man to have a woman who you fully trusted and thought they was there for you, and they to turn on you and offend you in that matter. That man's never the same, low key. Now he has to question every relationship that he's ever had in his life because he thought he was an excellent judge of character. Now he's has to be like, well, damn, like, I was with her for 12 years. If she could do this to me, imagine my niggas who I've been down with for 25. Like,
man.
Now you start picking up the phone. Hey, nigga. Like,
remember that time?
Yeah.
What did that mean? What was you trying to? And it, like
a lot of damage is done in our communities because we don't keep these laws.
Real talk.
All right, Israel. So, I really hope tonight's lesson was, informing, and I hope that something in you is causing you to continue to watch us and want to tap in with us and learn with us and keep these commandments with us. We put ourselves out here for the people to see. The Bible says that our teachers won't be put away in corners anymore. We're not tucked away in the back no more. We're front and center. We're here for our people that are looking for us. We're servants of the people. We're looking to gather our people for all those who want to keep the commandments of the Most High God and get this kingdom. Right? So with that, Israel, I don't have anything else. We're going to go ahead and close out. I appreciate everybody who's been tuning in online. Y'all be sure to tune in tomorrow for our Wednesday history class, world history according to the Bible. Be sure to tune in on Friday. I'll be teaching again. And then also tune in on Saturday so you can watch Bishop Tazaiwan teach. Continue to like, share, subscribe. Again, we're on Facebook and YouTube at True Nation Israelite Congregation. Shalom, Israel.
Shalom.